Sometimes life feels like you're on a high-speed train, just trying not to fall over, right? Everything is just getting faster and faster. But what if there was a way to find some genuine stillness right in the middle of all that chaos? Today we're going to dig into a really powerful idea from our source material, how to find an unhurried heart by connecting to something that is truly unchanging.
The source material we're looking at uses the city of Singapore as this perfect, vivid example. I mean, the pace there is just relentless. But honestly, you don't have to live in Singapore to get what that feels like. We all live in a world where the landscape, not just physically, but culturally, is in constant motion.
And let's be real, this isn't some vague feeling, is it? It's our daily reality. Just think about your own life. New policies at work that pop up out of nowhere, deadlines that seem to move up, shifting expectations from, well, everyone, and a calendar that feels like it's rewriting itself every single week. It is the perfect recipe for burnout.
Okay, so into that storm of chaos, the source material just drops this incredibly powerful ancient statement. Imagine hearing these words in the middle of your craziest day. For I, the Lord, do not change. It's like a sudden quiet anchor point in a world that never ever stops moving.
So what does that actually mean? Well, there's a big theological word for it, immutability. But all it really means is the state of being unchangeable. The core idea here is that while everything else is shifting all the time, our feelings, our jobs, the world around us, God's core character, His promises, His love, they're presented as being completely constant, totally reliable. And that idea, that's the foundation for everything we're about to explore.
Now, what's so fascinating is that this idea of connecting with an unchanging God, it isn't some new thing, not at all. In fact, it's an ancient practice that has been constantly adapting for literally thousands of years. It's amazing to see how the principles stayed the same, even as the world totally changed around it.
And this practice has taken so many different forms. I mean, way back in the 3rd century, when scrolls were super rare, it was all about solitude and this idea of watchfulness. Then, by the 6th century, monks developed this structured approach called Lectio Divina. Fast forward to the 16th century, and the Reformation brings Bible reading right into people's homes. And then, as the world got louder and more industrial in the 20th century, the term quiet time was born to fight back against all that noise. The methods kept evolving to meet the needs of the time.
Let's just zoom in on one of those for a second. Lectio Divina. This wasn't about speed reading to check a box. It was this slow, intentional 4-step process. You read, then you reflect, you pray, and finally, and this is key, you just rest. It shows you that for centuries, the focus was on having an encounter, not just downloading information. And here's the part that is just incredible to me. Even though the methods changed so dramatically over 2,000 years, we're talking from desert caves to digital apps, the core purpose has stayed exactly the same. It's always been about these 3 things: intentionally stepping away from distraction, really engaging with Scripture, and talking with God.
Okay, but that brings us to a huge, very modern problem. In our productivity-obsessed culture, a myth has kind of crept into this whole practice, this idea that spending more time somehow makes you more spiritual. So let's tackle that one head-on.
This is the question, right? The one that causes so much guilt and anxiety. We hear about people who spend hours in prayer, and then we look at our own packed schedules, and we just think, am I doing enough? That pressure can turn something that's supposed to give you life into just another heavy burden. Here's the core conflict right here. Our culture is constantly pushing us toward measuring things by duration, by performance, by intensity. But what our source material suggests is that the real goal is relational. It's focused on consistency, not duration. It's about presence, not performance. And it's driven by sincerity, not intensity. It's a completely different and honestly much more freeing way to think about it.
This verse from the Gospel of Luke just hits the nail on the head. It's from a story about 2 sisters. One is stressed out, running around doing a million tasks, while the other just sits and listens to Jesus. And he says, only one thing is needed. The point isn't the time log, it's about choosing to be present.
Okay, so if it's not about logging hours, what does this actually look like in a busy, modern life? Let's get super practical and talk about some sustainable rhythms that can actually fit into our schedules without adding more stress.
So check this out. Here's a simple, really memorable model called the 15-minute anchor. That's it, just 15 minutes, broken into 3 simple parts. 5 minutes to read a little bit of Scripture, 5 minutes to just think about it, and 5 minutes to pray. See, it's not about the length. It's about creating a consistent daily anchor point. It's simple, it's balanced, and it's something you can actually do.
And please hear this. This does not have to happen in a quiet room at 5 in the morning. The source material is all about weaving this into the life you already have. Maybe it's a commute communion where you listen to an audio Bible on the way to work. Maybe it's a parent rhythm where you read a psalm with your kids. Or hey, maybe it's just a 3-minute midday reset at your desk to pause and recenter. The key is your intention, not a specific time or place.
All right, this brings us to what might be the most important transformation of all. Because the goal of all of this isn't just to add another task to your to-do list. It's about a huge internal shift in your motivation, the heart of the matter.
And this is it. This is the real goal, moving from duty to desire. When this practice is driven by guilt, it feels like a transaction, like something you have to do. But when it's fueled by a genuine desire to connect with an unchanging God, it becomes life-giving. It's that simple but profound shift from I have to I get to.
And why does this matter so much? Because an anchored life has a ripple effect. According to the source, when we're centered, it changes us. We start to speak with more calm. We offer gentler correction. We connect more deeply with people. Our own insecurities start to weaken, and that risk of burnout, it goes way down. It doesn't just change us, it changes how we show up for everyone around us.
It all really boils down to this one simple, powerful truth. Anchored leaders anchor others. In a world that feels like it's spinning out of control, people who are rooted in something steady, they bring that stability and safety to their families, their workplaces, their communities. They become the calm in the storm for other people.
So we'll end with this question, something for you to really think about. Beyond just feeling a little bit better, what actually happens in your life, in your decisions, in your relationships, and the way you lead when you are truly anchored to something that doesn't move?